What's good, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday, the 14th of July. And my God, the band I have on today, this is a fun one just because we talk about a band that has a sound that is pretty dynamic in terms of how it can be all over the place. The struggles that they've had trying to get bookings with this. On top of that, many other things that have gone on with this band and just a lot of fun conversations as well around their music, around music in general, and just around what they do. So let's get into it. But first, I want to talk about support for this podcast. So I got a question for you. Yeah, you got Bush? Okay, I'm not talking about Barbara Bush here, the former first lady. Get her out of here. Go, go, go. Okay, let me ask you. You got Bush, and you definitely do have Bush. Yeah, Bush. If you haven't tried the best products from our sponsor today, which is Manscaped, let's be honest, taking control of your bush down there is important because, well, no one likes an unkempt bush. No one likes hedges that are all over the place. Who wants to deal with that? And the products from Manscaped are so good, you're going to be showing pride in your new bush-free yard. And no, I'm not talking about your lawn. I'm talking about your yard downstairs. It's a fact that you will have the best kept nutsack in your cul-de-sac, especially if you're one of those suburbanites out there. So how do you do that? Honestly, Manscaped has a lot of great products for you to help tame that bush and to keep it nice, trim, and kempt throughout the whole summer season. So get their performance package, which includes this bad boy right here, the Lawnmower 4.0 with skin-safe technology to make sure that you have the best care when it comes to trimming the bush, trimming the hedges, and making sure that your bush is well kept. Also, like I said, skin-safe technology. Look at that. That's kind of like, it's kind of like a plastic right there, but it's not. It's freaking awesome. It's also waterproof, so if you spill or something on it, hey, no biggie, it's still going to work. You need to see what you're doing down there when you're trimming that bush. Oh, look at that light, baby. Oh, yeah. Best way to keep your bush in line, trimmed, and kept this summer. Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped. They also have other products like the Weed Whacker to help, keep those nose hairs and those ears hairs trimmed up because, let's be honest, no one's really going to want to be around if you got nose hairs coming out of your nose and ear hairs flying out of your ears like you're some 80-year-old guy that has no idea what's going on anymore. They also have products like the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant. And what that's going to do is going to make sure that your balls down there, your boys and your nutsack, going to be smooth as silk on the finger roll. Okay, that sounded really weird unless you know basketball or backyard basketball 2001. Okay, but also it helps prevent chafing, and I got big legs. I run all the time. Boom, I need that. So it works perfectly. I've used it since 2020. Boom, love that stuff. They also have the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, which makes your balls smell oh so good. It makes it feel oh so good. They also have the Shave Mats, which is, let's be honest, clean up never easier than when you're shaving on those shave mats, baby. And all comes in a nice little convenient pouch when you order the Performance Pack 4.0, or you can order anything else out there to make sure you have the best kept bush in the land. So we have a great offer for you to make sure your most hygienic self by using our discount code of CPP to get 20% off your entire order and free shipping worldwide at manscaped.com. Remember, 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. Use the code CPP at checkout. We are also sponsoring the When We Were Hungry Festival in Las Vegas on October 20th and 21st of 2022. Yes, we had Will and Mal from the festival on the podcast back in April, and let's be honest with you, who doesn't want a festival like Warped Tour again? Not many people have been begging for this stuff. This might be the closest thing we're ever going to get to it, and this could become a gigantic thing. So there are many great bands playing this festival that have been on the podcast, including Modern Day Escape, including Varsity, including our friends in Outlier, including Along Came a Spider, including Saving Vice, including Palisades, many more like Dropout King, Scarlet Hair, the original Skylit Drive lineup. There's so many out here, and let's be honest, you're not going to want to miss out on it. Single tickets and 2-day tickets are on sale now at WeWereHungryFestival.com. Link is in the description of the podcast, so go get your tickets now, and I will see you in the pit with Pancakes October 20th and 21st in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. Now time for our feature presentation. So I had the privilege to speak with Matti and Hendrik from the band Blacktoothed. Their brand new album, JULI, comes out on July 29th, and let's be honest with you. Their sound is one of those sounds where, well, what tour could they fit on? The answer is yes. This band could fit on any tour, and you're going to find out why on today's Chord Progression Podcast. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You guys have seen a lot from me this year in 2022 with bands from the label A Rising Empire. I have been very vocal about how great the music has been coming out from that label, from all the bands across spectrum, from some in the US, but mostly over in Europe. And right now, we got another good one for you today. This band's brand new album, JULI, comes out on July 29th. So if you like rock music with a mix of, let's just say, a lot of great things in there. Some metal, some post-hardcore, some 80s riff stuff all mixed into it. This is going to be something for you to check out. So please welcome, all the way from Germany, Hendrik and Matti from the band Blacktoothed. So both of you, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Yay!
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for being here, both of you. How has everything been? As you know, we're in the second half of the year. 2022 is already halfway over, and a new album set to come out. So how has everything been going for the band? How's everything been going on your end? Especially, I'm over here in the US, you're over there in Europe, in Germany. So again, how's it been going on your end of the world in the past, first half of the year, I should say?
Well, it's actually been quite busy. I mean, it's the first time ever that we're actually having something like a promo, phase that's as long as the whole 6 months, basically. So yeah, kind of stressy to, feed all the socials and everything, but it's great to have finally have the music out that we've been working on for such a long time.
Exactly.
So now you're saying you've worked on this music for such a long time. So when it comes to the music you're working on, when it came to JULI, was this music or were these songs that were being worked on, during the pandemic, during the shutdown and everything, and it's finally time to release these things and let the world listen to them?
To be honest, we are writing the songs before the pandemic starts.
Some of them.
Some of them, yes. We had some recording sessions in the past. It's because we wanted to release only some singles and not a full-length album. And yeah, then the contract with A Rising Empire was knocking on the door. And then they said, please, let's do a full-length album. And yeah, we had to write some more songs.
Okay, yeah. So now I see how it kind of came together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like in the end, yeah, in the end, it was like 3 different recording sessions that we had over the course of 2 years. So
yeah, it was full stress for Matti and not for me.
So how was it full stress for Matti and not for you, Hendrik?
Matti was writing 99% of the songs, to be honest. It's because she is a genius in writing songs, in writing rock songs, because I don't need to jump in. She came from the same music style like me, and for me it's perfect. Everything she's writing is 90% perfect for me, so it's easy.
90% perfect and 10%, maybe a little bit of a tweak here and there, but mostly it's there.
Yes.
Yeah, like 10% production of our great producing team.
But the thing that just surprised me the most when you said 3 different recording sessions to go through this with, of course, the pandemic, contract with the Rising Empire, just many different things. So when it came to having to do 3 different recording sessions for this, did that bring on a lot of stress when it came to, making these songs, when it came to writing the other songs to add more to the album, when it came to just everything around there? Because different recording sessions, you're going to have to record different songs, or you have to record the same songs a couple of different times. And adds more time to, you know, getting these songs out there and being able to have people listen to these and have that final product out there. So not only can you go out and play these live, but you not only release them to the public, but at the same time as well, now it's this creative process is done and you can move on to the next creative process when it comes to songwriting. So what was that stress like of, you know, 3 different recording sessions? Because that's just wild to me.
I mean, it depends. For once, it's kind of cool because you don't have to focus on too many songs. So you always have like, you can choose, maybe I would probably write about 5 songs and then we would choose 2 that we wanted to record. So that was fine for me to not having to write, I don't know, 20 songs at a time. So you can choose the best ones and go into recording sessions. So that was, yeah, probably easier for me then. But also you kind of lose connection to some songs over time. And then listening back to them kind of feels like, I don't know if this is going to be a single, because you're more connected to the songs you just recorded. So that happened a lot with us, I guess, from the last recording session that we had. We were like, everything could be a single with these songs. But then listening back to every song, and of course having a Rising Empire say something about this as well, which was probably good for us in the end then, because we were, I don't know, far off with all the songs. So then choosing what would be a single and what wouldn't be, was maybe a bit tougher.
A little bit tougher, but the one thing you said that did stand out to me was the fact that, or a couple of things stand out. First was the fact that, you know, with 3 different sessions, you were able to not have to focus on, you know, write 15 or 20 songs and then condense them down to 10. You were able to focus in on a select group and then, okay, now we know the ones we really want to work on with this one. We know the ones of the small group that we're really connected to. Let's focus on these. So on a singular level, you know, those songs are going to have the best quality and have the most attention put to them versus if you were doing something like a regular recording session where you're trying to record 10 songs off an option of 20 or 25. But the one thing you also said that really stuck out in my mind was, you know, working with these songs and then all of a sudden you're going to a different recording session, you have to bring these songs back up and now you don't feel as connected to them. You're not sure if they're going to be a single, and that's all on the passage of time, because as time goes on, different things happen to us. We experience different things. So those songs that had a very specific meaning to them for you, that had a very specific emotion attached to them, now that emotion that might not be as strong just because you're removed from the core time when it came to writing that song and feeling it. On top of that, you know, as the world has evolved and has, you know, time goes on, you know, even in a span of 3-4 months, you might have had a song that sounded perfect and it really fit that time. But all of a sudden it's 4 months later, you know, maybe the song that you were working on, now that song just doesn't sound as strong as it did based off of how the rest of the music scene has kind of gone over the next 3 to 4 months. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying play to whatever's popular, but it's just that song might not hit as hard based on where rock and metal music might be really focused in on at that specific time versus when you wrote it.
But honestly, we have absolutely no idea what rock and metal music these days is focusing on. We just write some songs and hope for the best.
I would say I understand that as well, because usually when I listen to music, it's just like, okay, what do I like that sounds good? What sounds good to me? What hits me the right way? And what can I just really get into? And, you know, some people are like, oh yeah, this is really popular. And I'm just like, but this band that's over like in England or over in Germany that only has like 20,000, maybe 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, they put out something that's just, you gotta go check this out, man. It's so much better.
See, this is what I like to focus on if I look out for new music. I mean, I've completely shifted from rock and metal music to like EDM and US pop music. I don't know. I'm not even in the scene. I don't even listen to the music I write. I don't know.
So then, well, first off, Matti, how did you go from like focusing on that to all of a sudden focusing on EDM and US pop? But secondly, when it comes to just, you know, your focus is listening there, but you're writing in a different style, you're writing more of that rock and metal style. Have you seen a massive difference when it comes to writing, but also potentially taking influence from what you're listening to on some of these EDM tracks and these US tracks into the music that you're making today?
Definitely. I think our latest single, Tidal Wave, is like a perfect example for this one. I mean, it's kind of, I tried to convert a EDM drop into some form of rock song, I guess. That's what happened. honestly, we didn't even know if this was going to be on the album because it was actually in my trash folder. And then Hendrik found it and said like, oh, we have to record this one. Because
Yep.
I wasn't sure if I could actually do that, put that out into this rock album that we were going to write.
Before I jump into that, Hendrik, did you just like go and like hack into her computer and look through her recycle bin just to see what was in there, or like how did you find it in the trash folder?
No, we started a vocal recording session, a pre-recording, and yeah, sometimes she is showing me some old stuff, only for me to hear the stuff, and I said, wow, she had 2 songs, and I thought, wow, the song is phenomenal. We have to record the song. We have to put it in our set. And she said, what? Really? This is dirt? I mean, this is old and I don't know if it's working. And said, yes, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. And yeah, it's one of my personal best songs from the album so far.
Yeah, I think it's our favorite in general.
Well, I mean, what you said. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, but this is another perfect example of this was part of the last recording session where we had to write, I think, 5 songs in the end, and I found that quite hard to write 5 songs in a row that would be good enough to go in the recording session. So this is why I was kind of desperate and showing him all this stuff, and yeah, just maybe finding another potential song.
It's like, Hendrik, please help. There might be something here that you might like.
Yes.
Just check it out, please.
Yeah, I write so many different songs that I don't know. It's just, you gotta.
Today she sent me a new one.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, when it sent you a new one, is there a lot of pop and EDM mixed in with the rock and metal that you're working with on the new one that you just sent them?
A little bit more drive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more rock.
See, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like when it comes to the style, like rock and metal and the driving style it is, that's something that really hits me more. So listening to Tidal Wave, like I've been looking like the electronic aspect of it personally for me is not something that I fully jump into. But I'm looking at like how I like went through the track, because I went through the album with JULI. I went through every single track. I've got 17 pages of notes on this thing, so I wasn't gonna miss out on anything when it came to this.
Oh, wow.
But I put like, for me, it was the use of it here and having it as minimal as possible before the chorus blasts us. It was a fantastic move to show emotional tidal waves hitting us with regret or remorse as we potentially lose a friend, or we didn't do anything to potentially help them out, in a time of need. So just the construction around how it was built, even though it has more of that EDM and pop kind of style to it, especially from the electronic aspect, the flow of it, especially when it came down to matching with the lyrics, it did all make sense and it hit on that emotion. On top of that, though, take a look at a lot of other bands that are in this, in the music scene where, they put out some stuff, but with the bands that really take those risks and try something different, something ends up clicking, and that's when things really hit off. I mean, I'm thinking of, even use Papa Roach as an example, because I remember on their 2017 album, Crooked Teeth, an album I really like, one of the songs that got big off it was Born for Greatness, which had more of that, EDM, more of that kind of style to it, especially in the post-chorus, but not necessarily for me, but seeing how that song took them into more of the public eye, especially after, it was like their second iteration after Face From the Rise came out, and then now they're going into this, getting more of that pop style to it. It made a lot of sense, and it did work very well. So it all depends upon, the craft of the song, how it flows through everything connectively, how it works with the lyrics, how it works with the emotion, and how it drives that whole entire emotional journey home as we go from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Tidal Wave is also like a song that's kind of has to grow on you. I don't know. When we recorded it, our producer Chris, he was quite skeptical at first. It was like, I don't know what we do with this one, but then started producing, and then in the end he was like, I guess that's actually become my favorite song right now. So I think, I don't know, it just happened with a few people.
But if it happens with a few people that are closely connected to the song and you're seeing how it's growing on them, once JULI releases And well, even though it is a single, but once people get their full grasp of the album and listen to the rest of it, it's gonna stand out completely as a song that sounds completely different. Along with, I'm not gonna lie as well, along with, I gotta make sure I get the name right next, I don't want to butcher it, along with the titular song that's at the end, because that one stands out specifically with you, Maddie, being, you know, the only vocalist on there. It does, like, both of those stand out for completely different reasons where they don't necessarily fully fit the full sound of the entire album to that point. But when you go through the whole entire thing and you let those songs really have their moments, then they start to grow on you and you start to understand them more.
That's why we wanted to make this a single anyway, because we had just that fear that it would just go under in general if we just not make a single, and so people would just listen through it and then skip to the next song. Every song was out already.
That's a really good point, because I'm trying to think if any albums that I've listened to really this year where there was one song that kind of stuck out like as a complete outlier and wasn't put out as a single and just kind of got glossed over. But that does make a lot of sense, because if you're listening to something and you're more really connected to a certain sound and all of a sudden a song's on the album that's completely different, you might just, you know, pass through if it's not a single because it's not kind of like stuck in your head and you might miss out on it. So at this point in time, you're giving the song like its proper notice so that when the album comes out, people know where it is on the album and they're going to listen to it due to familiarity and then really get to feel it in the whole album scope.
Yep.
Say, you know, when Hendrik called you a genius when it came to writing, but also that thought process, can you just put a banner behind it that just says genius? And then, like, every time you do an interview from here on out.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Do it.
I mean, it would be, not gonna lie, it would be fitting, but it would also be like a point of like, wait, why does she have genius behind her? Well, it's because she is one. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't take a compliment.
I think she knew it.
Maybe deep down.
I'll say, how about this? Here's what we'll do. When I get a chance to see you guys perform live at some point, because I don't know when it's going to be, but it will happen at some point, I'm just going to bring a banner that says genius. I'm going to give it to you, Maddie. It's be like, you know what? Now you have no reason to not hang it up. You have no excuse. You literally have the banner in your hand.
Well, I just lost the space behind me. So.
Well, that means I can get a nice big one, or I could just make a whole entire giant flag that just says genius on it. And
oh my God. I don't know.
we should create some merch, I guess.
We should. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with big genius and your face.
Wow.
Or just have it say genius and have like a picture of like Stephen Hawking, have one of Albert Einstein, and then just have Maddie right in the middle of it as well.
Oh my God.
Would be a top seller, I guess.
You would be surprised, honestly. It's like when it comes to band merch, I've seen some bands where when they put out some of the most ridiculous things you could ever imagine, it ends up being the top seller.
Oh my God.
I'll say,
I wish we would have one of those pictures of this one shirt we made with the whole candy.
Oh my God.
The candy tooth. Oh my God. That would fit that category, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, what shirt is this? Because I'm intrigued. I gotta see if we can find it on eBay now.
Maybe you can find a picture later, but I can try to explain it. So it was a red shirt, and it had like a big giant tooth on the front, and it had just black tooth. I think by that time we were going as Blacktooth Scares, and it would be like written in that, I don't know, candy sort of font. I don't know, and then we would have just candy stamps all over it, like I don't know what was on that, ice cream,
everything, lollipops and stuff like that.
Yeah, everything. It was ridiculous, and I don't think it sold that good.
I think we don't have some left.
Yeah, because you gave them away.
Yes.
Oh man, I would have bought one. Like the one band that I know, they're from Australia. It's a metalcore band called Patient 67. Their top selling shirt of all time is literally, it's like they did like the death metal logo of them like on the on a black shirt, but then over that logo is just a picture of the lead singer's cat. It's just that.
That works with everything death metal related, right? Like cats. Or do you know like Craig Reynolds from Straight from the Path?
Yeah.
He has this podcast, Downbeat, and he once made a T-shirt also that death metal logo thing, and I think it was Cult of Luna because his former dog was called Luna. So kind of the same story.
See, like
I think my boyfriend has one of these.
Oh, I gotta see that shirt then. But like on top of that, like even through like doing podcasts like this, I've gotten ideas for potential like shirts to make. But the problem is I'm probably gonna end up, if I make them, I'm probably gonna get a letter that says like a cease and desist letter that I have to stop making them because I'm infringing on some copyright law. Because I was gonna literally take. Well, I was gonna take like the a scene from SpongeBob where it was like Patrick goes like, "Why don't we take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else?" And I was gonna be like, "Why don't we take these crowd killers and push them somewhere else?"
Oh, like come on, I bet you can do that.
my whole thought process was if Ice Nine Kills can get away with putting Disney characters in horror films and making t-shirts out of them, have done it 3 times, and Disney has not sent them a cease and desist letter yet, why can't I get away with SpongeBob, especially with me being smaller than Ice Nine Kills? I think I might be able to get away with it.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, there also was this trend with bands copying like big logos. I don't know, Run DMC or something. You'd have that. Yeah. I mean, I know bands that did it and they never got, I don't know, anything.
Or then like, go back to like the metalcore in like 2009, 2010 with all like the crazy cartoon monsters that were on every single shirt. Like a day to remember, Asking Alexandria, Devil Wears Prada.
Bring me.
Every band. Every band.
Oh, horrible shirts, but yeah.
I have some shirts.
You still have some, Hendrik?
Yes, I think the ridiculous one is from Salt the Wound. Do you know the band Salt the Wound?
Yeah.
And there's like toothpaste in the back and on the back, and I think it's a little bit sexism thing, but it's very, very funny. Yeah. But I have some shirts left. Yeah. Over. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, I unfortunately didn't get into this whole entire thing until after that whole entire like crazy monster phase happened. But probably the most ridiculous one I have is actually from I recently got it was from Electric Callboy. It was like one of their like MC Thunder 2 shirts. So you got Kevin with like the giant Fu Man shoe on the front of it. On the back it just says "Don't stop the party." I'm just like, well, that's obvious. I have to get this shirt and I have to enjoy it. Like I gotta walk around everywhere and all of a sudden it's like, well, where's the party? Well, it's that guy. I mean, look at him. That shirt says it all.
Yep. They are famous for that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I just kind of, we're just talking merch ideas, shirt ideas to potentially, all of a sudden, next thing I'm going to see, a week or two after JULI drops, I'm just going to end up seeing, a brand new line of merch just out of nowhere from you guys. That's just going to have all these insane, crazy things put on there. And I'm going to look at it. First thing I'm going to do is laugh. Then I'm going to smile. Then I'm going to get on my credit card and buy 3 shirts.
Oh, my God. So that's how we sell 3 shirts in total.
So that's how you sell 3 shirts. Or I'm just going to get an email from you guys that says, hey, we made these 3 shirts for you. Can you pay for them? And you're going to hear me go,
yep. Yeah, see, this would be so, we always have like crazy shirt ideas, but in the end we have to like stick with basic stuff, and it's really annoying, but that's apparently what sells here. It has to be like hip and artsy and whatever.
Well, I mean, you're always going to want something that's going to be more the basic stuff as well, because it's going to appeal to a much wider audience. And even think about this too. It's like you have something that's a little bit more basic. It's going to appeal. It's going to be easily more wearable out certain places where, if I'm going to like, I'll put it this way. No one expects me to wear, like if I go into work, if I ever go into the office, or before the pandemic when I did go in the office, most people, probably weren't big at me, wearing all those crazy Ice Nine Kills t-shirts. I still did it though, and I still got away with it because, people are going to see, Mickey Mouse as Freddy Krueger, and they're going to laugh because, hey, it's except the one person that's like, oh my God, that's not what Mickey is. It's family friendly. But it's like if I wore, like a regular old Rise Against t-shirt, no one batted an eye because it just seemed normal. But so it does make sense where you want to have I'd say have a healthy mix of both, where it's like maybe have one, just like every merch drop or everything that you do, just, have the basic stuff because that's what sells, but try something new, maybe with 1 or 2 shirts just every single time, just to try something completely different, completely wacky, because you never know when one of those crazy ideas might just hit.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we have these little stamps on the cover art of JULI, so I think we're gonna stick with these for now. Are we?
If you want.
Well, who knows what those stamps might end up creating. You might get something that's just like, simple, artsy, have a little more of like that pastel flow to it, given the album cover.
Yeah.
But you might make it kind of wacky, cartoony, and all of a sudden, all those little 4 things that are on each of those stamps.
Oh yeah,
they might grow arms and legs and start firing lasers at each other.
Yeah, I mean, Henny had this idea of creating a tidal wave shirt. I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's the whole Ghostbusters theme in the end, and we even made patches like with an ice cream and like a logo thing, and like crossed out ice cream and having the blacktooth shit. Maybe create a shirt like this.
Maybe do something that kind of has that like uniform look to it, and has the patch on there, or just have
that'd be funny.
Or just have the giant patch in front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely potential for it. With that, I would definitely, especially before the album comes out, kind of see, how the song's being, handled, how people are really responding to it, how people respond to it once the album comes out, and then maybe look at how to do something off of that, because it is a great idea. But again, now I'm starting to come with my business mind, because I did go to school for economics, so I kind of understand some of this stuff, where it's, I don't want you to jump fully into this if it's like, okay, this, is we're going this blind and this definitely might not work. But if there's definitely going to be some intrigue around there, if there's definitely going to be a lot of viewership and a lot of listenership around that song, then definitely go for something like it, because not only are you hitting on that, like, especially with Tidal Wave being such a different song, not only are you hitting on that difference and you're focusing in on that, but you're also doing something creative around there that people that might not necessarily be into the song, all of a sudden they see that shirt, who's not going to want a shirt that has a big giant like ice cream symbol on it that's slashed down and has the Blacktooth logo over it?
Yeah. We'll see about that.
Let's be real, because I would definitely buy one of those.
All right.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. All of a sudden, 2 weeks after the album release, I'm going to see a post on like Instagram or something, see that shirt pop up, and then literally I'm just going to reach in my pocket, credit card comes out, done. I can expect it in 3 weeks. Sweet. Because of international shipping. It's okay. I'll wear it to work one day.
Sweet.
And I'll be like,
I'll let you know.
And I'll be like, what band is that? I was going to be like, oh, let me show you. So now jumping a little bit more into JULI and everything, especially for the first half of the year, because, now we're through the first half of the year. Second half of the year, you're going to be doing a lot of things with the album release. So what were you doing, first half of the year album release wise? Because I was trying to see if I could find, anything when it came to, live music touring. How much were you supporting this album and, really prepping it in a live music setting before the release of it?
Do you want to talk about it?
You can go for it.
Oh. So yeah, the whole live situation is still a bit funny for us, because we're now in that place where we don't want to take shitty gig options anymore, but also we have to, really focus on the whole booking situation. Then we had the pandemic, so we didn't know what was going on in this year, and we were kind of busy with the whole promo stuff on the whole social media side of things, and we have some shows planned, which is cool, of course, but we have to go a little bit more into the whole booking thing. We just had an opportunity coming up, and so for the future, that's more like a thing for the future for us at the moment, maybe around like spring or early 2023. But for now, we're just sticking with some single gigs.
Also
okay.
Very hot. It's also very hot because the pandemic ends. Every location is literally sold out.
Yeah, right.
Every band is touring, and with I would say, starting band like us, it's very hard to jump in some lineups. It's very difficult at the moment.
I mean, honestly, we were planning something for like September, but everything was full already. So all the clubs are packed with bands, of course, which is great again. But yeah.
And that's something also, like, when it comes to just everyone trying to tour, we're seeing that over here in the United States as well, where it's, you know, in March and April, it was like I was going to 2-3 shows sometime a week. And don't get me wrong, as a fan, I absolutely love it. You know, live music is back. I'm able to go into these shows, and all of a sudden, you know, I come out of these shows sweaty as all hell, feeling a little beat up because, you know, sometimes mosh pits get a little too, you know, much fun. And, you know, all of a sudden you're seeing knocked loose and you literally get knocked loose. That's just the fun of it. But it also came down to everyone's trying to tour at the exact same time because everyone was on the shelf for over a year, almost a year and a half.
No.
Now everyone's able to get back out, play live music, no restrictions. And not only that, because of the pandemic, the amount of supply of venues all over the world end up shortening because places closed down due to the fact that, you know, they had no one coming in for a year and a half, and financially it just didn't make sense anymore for them to continue on. So I do understand the problem that you're having when it comes to trying to get, you know, some of these shows where everyone's trying to go there, so you have to compete with other bands for those slots. On top of that as well, now with the fact that you are signed to a rising empire, I understand, you know, where you're coming from too, because, you know, you don't want to be playing those, you know, super duper small shows or some of those bad shows. It's like you want to be playing shows where, you know, you're going to make sure that you have, you know, a good amount of people that are going to attend each show. If it's you, that's the headliner, or, you know, now that you are a fully signed band, that you are going to be able to use that to hopefully get on some opening slots on some larger tours with some other bands that very well might be on the same record label as you are. Because don't get me wrong, the record label you're on with the Rising Empire, it's like every time I talk to one of the bands that's on the label, it's like they're touring with another band from Rising Empire, and I get angry because I'm over here and I can't go and see it.
Yeah, well, but yeah, this is another thing, by the way. The whole timing of the announcement of us signing with the Rising was also a big issue because, I mean, it was in, I think, February, right? That was when You Never Know came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all the, you know, festivals were already booked and everything. So without a label, it's a different story than when you're on a label. So yeah, that was another thing. It's like timing. But next year, I think we're going to be a bit more active in festivals.
Hopefully.
Yeah, festival summer.
I'll say you should, just with the sheer number of festivals. It's like every single weekend I'm seeing so many different people post stuff all over Europe, just like with all these different festivals they're going to. Because I've got a couple of friends that are over there, and it's like every single weekend they're at a new festival, whether they're in Germany, whether they're in the Czech Republic, whether they're in Austria, whether they're in England, whether they're in France. I'm just like, my God. Why I should go over to Europe in summer and just spend the whole summer there, you know, just work on this stuff during the week, and all of a sudden weekend, yep, I'm going to be at these festivals and I'm going to be moshing with European crowds and hope to God I don't die, but we'll see what happens because if I do, at least I went out happy. That's what matters to me. But when it comes to timing as well, it definitely could have been better timing for the 2022 festival season. However, you know, I would put it this way, bad timing in this instance is better than nothing at all because now you have the support behind there from a Rising Empire. Yeah. You have JULI coming out with them, supporting it as well. On top of that, you never know what might happen, you know, especially with maybe something happens over the next like month or two where there's a tour that's going on and a band has to drop out from an opening slot for some reason. And all of a sudden, going all across here, boom, here's Blacktooth right there. Yeah. And they fit in perfectly with whatever lineup really can come through for that opening slot because, you know, your music can have so much of different dynamics to it with a song like Tyler. Then you got, you know, You Never Know, Pulse, you've got Body Bag, and there's so many other things that you can do with some of these songs to just work within a tour lineup to lead to the next band and keep that energy flowing for the crowd. So it's just, the show works continuously. So the show feels like a full cohesive unit and it doesn't feel like, you know, the energy starts out here and then just shoots right up. And then, you know, that first band seems like it's really low. No. That energy keeps feeling like it's either rising or continuing to go. So that gradual increase, people remember that, people feel that. And then people remember the band's name because it's like, hey, I remember the show. That band started out. We got in the groove with everything. We were feeling really good. Next band went on. Groove kept going. We keep feeling good. All of a sudden, here comes the headliner, and that's when everything went nuts. Like you remember the bands that are on those bills.
Definitely. But this is and actually funny that you're pointing this out, because this is something we're actually having trouble with, because lots of people like from the whole business are having trouble where to place us, really. Genre wise, I don't know. So they're always like, I don't really know if I could put you on tour with this and that. But honestly, we played so many gigs with different genres of bands that we were supporting, and it kind of always fit. I don't know. Like a few weeks ago, we played at festival. We were like co-headlining this smaller festival, and we had to play after a German punk band that's been around forever. Like it's just, it was like we were all like, oh my god, this is gonna be so hard. Like the whole crowd was more like on the punk side of things, but then actually it worked out. So this is, I mean, we see it more like as a potential, because we can fit into any different scene. Just like you said, you have like rock, we have like metal, we have pop elements. I don't know. It just fits.
Well, I'm going to throw two things at you from that aspect. And one is, I've seen some shows this year where the lineups, it seems like, I look at them, I'm like, how in the hell does this make sense? And this is the perfect one. I forgot the band that opened the show, but the second band up was Kubla Khan. So that's just like insanity hardcore. Yeah. And then the headliner for that show was Knocked Loose. But in between Kubla Khan and Knocked Loose was the pop punk band Movements, which I'm not going to lie, you look at that on paper, that makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you go from Kubla Khan to Movements, then all the way back up to Knocked Loose in terms of like the hardcore energy? No, it doesn't make sense. But then you go and see it live, and just that it was a different type of energy, but the crowd stayed engaged, the crowd had fun, and we got this fun break in between two hardcore acts, and we got to relax a little bit. The guys in the pit, we got to get a little bit of a breather because, Kubla Khan, everyone's going nuts, people are throwing hands, and you just know what's going to happen. The same thing's happening for Knocked Loose, but man, getting that break and just the energy flow, it still fit. So getting on something like that, and you're seeing that it's worked out with you, and you're seeing that, you can do this. The issue is, of course, when it comes to these booking agents, being able to express that to them and show that to them. The second part of that is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just, I wanted to just jump on that statement, because that's actually the feeling I got when I saw that tour thing from, I think it was Knocked Loose and A Day to Remember and Boston, Maine. So it's like kind of the same.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, but I think this is also a thing where like in the US, like crowds are probably more open to this, because I don't know why we don't have it, but in Europe we really don't have lineups like this. I don't know. It's just different.
I'll say maybe it's different in the US. I can't fully confirm that because I've only really ever seen shows here.
Yeah.
I've had plans for the past 3 years to go back to Europe and to do like a 2-3 week long run just through all these different countries, and every day or every other day see some show or see some band that I've had in the podcast, support them and just have a good time and just be in the pit, be crazy. It's like, well, who the hell is this guy going crazy looking like an American guy? Yep, it's Kevin. Just it's fine. He's good. But I can't really speak that, but I do understand where you're coming from that. But the other thing I'll say too is take a look at bands right now that are people would consider unique or just different, that are not really following the grain but are kind of forging their own path with their sound. I'll use Ice Nine Kills example because mixing a horror and metalcore together, like those are two things that like they sound like they go together, but how do you mix them together? And originally, no one really gave them a time of day as much until the first Silver Scream came out. And then all of a sudden, it just took off. Bring Me the Horizon is the best example of this because look at every single album. They've gone through a completely different transformation from Count Your Blessings is completely different than anything they're putting out right now.
Like ammo.
Yeah, but it just look at how that all went down. And it's just, you can put Bring Me the Horizon on anything and it works. You can put anyone with Bring Me the Horizon and it's going to work. So in the short run, it might seem like it's tough, but in the long run, it's always going to be better to forge your own path and to keep the sound that you want to have, because I'll use this as another example. Think about Metallica and Slayer. Thrash metal was not thrash metal until they created it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, same with Bring Me. I mean, I love every single album from them, I guess. But it's also one of these bands that has to grow on me first. Every new album, I kind of have to set myself for the sound that they're going for. But then it's just awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, the only one that didn't have to grow on me was the recent EP, the Post-Human Survival Horror EP. Like, I listened to that all the way through. I'm just like, I don't even need this to grow on me. This is fucking awesome. It's like,
definitely.
Yeah, because it's like all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, are we going like something's reminding me of like, Linkin Park here, and all of a sudden now it's like, Parasite Eve was like, it felt like Can You Feel My Heart 2.0. Then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, this seems kind of wonky. And then they go into I'm seeing Kingslayer featuring Baby Metal. Well, how the hell is this gonna work? I listened, like, this was wildly fun and so damn like awesome. Like, we need more of this shit.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good if you hear them announce a new song or something.
Oh yeah, so like kind of continuing out that, but like especially when again the bands that have gotten to be the biggest bands out there, the ones that have just really created something for themselves, they become these especially with rock metal, these cultural icons. In a way.
Yeah, right.
They're the ones that are always with a different sound. They're the ones that are forging their own path. They're the ones that are going forward and doing something completely on their own. Now, of course, there's a lot of great bands out there that have, done a lot of those similar sounds and have done them very well and are popular in their own right, but they never fully like hit that like next like top tier echelon like someone like Bring Me the Horizon has done.
Right. Like, I, as a teenager, was like the biggest Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, and I think they just fit to that as well. Like, can't compare their first albums to their last albums. It's just very unique.
Oh, absolutely. Because like I don't really listen to Chili Peppers that much. Like I know they recently released an album.
Me neither anymore. Like,
and I listened to a little bit of it. I'm just like, from like Danny California and to this is like. That's a little different, my friend. But then again, bands, I know some bands where, they have a very similar sound all throughout their career. We all know these bands, and some of them get stale, but some of them it's like they found something that absolutely works for them, and they just keep going with it, and it works. There's some bands that gradually just like, sometimes like stay to their roots, but just like evolve from their roots a little bit and just kind of keep that modern while keeping in touch with roots. And I love those bands. And then there's some that just, you see that progression every single album where they're trying something new and you see that evolution happen with something that's completely wacky and completely crazy. But sometimes, it just hits. And use Bad Omens as an example. Their first two albums were completely different than Death of Peace of Mind. But Death of Peace of Mind, I'm like, this is the American version of Amo. And it's gotten them, to new heights completely. I mean, here in the U.S., they're gonna be touring with Beartooth and A Day to Remember on stadium shows. Yeah,
this is so sick. We had the chance to play with Bad Omens in Dresden.
2 times, Dresden and Leipzig.
2 times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
With Polaris and Bad Omens as headliner. Yeah.
Wait, whoa! So you guys got to play with Bad Omens and Polaris as the headliner?
Yes.
Yes, but that's. What year was that? 2019.
1 year. This 19. was when you were pregnant.
That was after that.
No. Polaris was after that.
Yes, it was 2019. I think Bad Omens were a bit smaller than now.
Yes,
it's so sick to see them.
Smaller.
Yeah, a little bit. So sick
smaller.
to see them like tour with Beartooth and everything. It's so.
Yes.
So funny because but they were quite young though, right? When we played with them.
Yes. I mean, yeah. But we played before with them.
Seemed so young. Yeah, right.
1 year before, yes.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so cool to see how they just blow up.
And you see, we're fitting in every lineup.
And then see us staying on the same.
Yeah, but sometimes it just takes different time, and it just takes different things for a band to just pop off. Again, Bad Omens, look at them. Death of Peace of Mind comes out, and it was really when they announced that Death of Peace of Mind was coming out, and then they released the titular song. This is what has happened to them. They went on tour in direct support of Ice Nine Kills after the release of Welcome to Horrorwood. Okay, you're getting to get a lot of people at those shows. Then then they're going to be on then they were on, no one was really sure what they're going to do once the release of Death Peace of Mind happened. But then Every Time I Die broke up. They were supposed to go on tour with Under Oath and Spirit Box. Oh, here comes Bad Omens to fill that spot. Then they're doing festival shows in the US while also on tour with In This Moment. And now they're going to be opening up like arena level shows for Beartooth and A Day to Remember.
It's really cool.
Like it just depends on, when something hits and, when a band finally just like finds their footing in terms of not only, potentially pop culture, but also just the rock scene as well with the fans that are there. Because with your sound, I'm not going to lie, like it's so dynamic where it can happen at any given moment. Like with Tidal Wave, something could happen there where all of a sudden the next couple of weeks, something picks up with Tidal Wave or a different song ends up going off or something else with a deep cut. You never know when it might happen, but you guys have that dynamic sound to really work within that. And again, you guys have played with the likes of Polaris, with Bad Omens. There are other tours that you talked about that were just like, you guys worked on these tours. You went after a German punk band, a legacy German punk band, and it worked. Why can't you, like, you guys can fit on any tour? Why don't they?
I don't know. We'll see about that. Maybe after one tour, they will change their minds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you just got to get like that one little push. It's like you got to have maybe one person or one booking agent kind of maybe take a little bit of a chance on that one.
It's always like that. It's always like that in the scene, right? You need one person to just hit it off. Yeah, we had that. We kind of have that. Still have that, I guess.
I would say, but you have a little bit more of a chance right now, and the chances are a little bit greater based on the fact that you're signed to a rising empire. So you have a lot of connections to bands that are on the same label. Like, I think it's all said. I saw you guys played with Anna's Okay as well, and it's like, there's one that can really work, because I saw it happen with like another band from Germany called Future Palace, also on a rising empire. Like all of a sudden, like they went out with Anna's Okay like 2 consecutive tours. And I'm just like, and just seeing what's happened with them, I'm just like, let's keep this rolling. Let's keep this going. Let's just keep supporting these bands as much as we can. Let's, take chances on them, because if we don't take chances on them, we, keep pumping out the same stuff over and over and over and over again. What happens? It gets mundane. It gets boring. And then less people get into the music, and less people are, less new people are coming to music, and they're going to other genres, which again, people are going to go with where they want to go to. But if you keep going the same stuff over and over and over again, then you're limiting that potential. You're limiting that creative expansion. Yeah,
sure. I mean, touring with NSOK in Germany is like the jackpot. Honestly, they always have sold out shows. It's crazy. There's so many people coming to their shows. We played a show with them as well. It was just great, because apparently the fans that dig NSOK would also, jump over to us, which is great.
All right, that's it. I'm gonna put a request into the people at Horizon Empire. Here's what I want. I want at least at some point in 2023, because I want to make sure that I can make it over to Europe for the show. In Germany, I don't care where it's being played, but give me a show that has Anna's Okay as the headliner, and let me get Blacktoothed and Future Palace on that lineup as well, because you're going to see some crazy guy in a backwards baseball cap like this go crazy in the pit. Might get hit in the face, might go down. You might be like, oh, is that dude okay? And it's like, oh, no, wait, it's Kevin, Even if he's not okay, he's okay. He's happy. It's like, even if my face is busted up, you're going to see me go, I'm good.
Kevin, are you okay?
Kevin, are you okay? I'm not, but Anna's okay. And all of a sudden, just like,
wow.
I mean, if I answered to that, I'm pretty sure people would probably be like, yeah. And all of a sudden, all right, let's go. With blood running down my face. Like, okay, let me just get this, cleaned up a little bit. Next, you guys play with another song. It's like, okay, get into a song. It's like, all right, we need the song to drive. Let's get going on this one. All of a sudden, you see the hat walk, like slowly moving its way through the crowd towards the pit. It's like, oh no, he's going back in.
Then we cannot play Between You and the World, I guess.
No.
It's a weird song.
I'll put it this way. Please, 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 play it.
We did.
You did?
Yeah. We did one time. We played the song live when it came out. This was on the festival with a legendary punk band.
Yes.
and it was
It's called leukemia, by the way.
leukemia. Yes, leukemia. Yeah,
It's like an oi pun.
but very big, for real, very big.
Yeah.
Yeah, but playing the song was very
Weird.
yes, slow, and you have nothing really much
The
to.
horn,
Yeah, it was creepy a little bit, and we decided to not play the song anymore live.
Yep.
Well, maybe it just depends upon, maybe where it was in the set list. Because, I mean, I know some bands where all of a sudden it's like they'll play stuff, like, they're going crazy. We're playing stuff, and it's just, we're getting into it. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, after like 5, 6, insanely heavy songs, and sudden, all right, we're going to play this one that kind of is a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden it's just, all of a sudden us in the pit, instead of going crazy with each other, we were, arm in arm around each other, kind of swaying around, just like feeling the vibe.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all right, we're going to go into something heavier. And all of a sudden, that first note hits, and this next thing you know, instead of going, we're not swaying around anymore. We're like, sway and push.
Yeah, it maybe worked when the song name is called Fear of the Dark or something like that, but not Between You and the World.
Hey, I think the crowd took it quite good because they were already pretty drunk. But
Yes.
for us, it was weird. On stage
Okay.
is sometimes a bit. The same with polls, actually. It's just the song is cool, but live is just such a downer. I don't know.
And it's very hard to sing.
Yeah, well, you always
For
complain
real.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hard to sing, but you got to remember the genius is the one writing it. So if it's going to be hard to sing, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, but live singing is different to sing it in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean,
you-
if
I
I
mean,
write the hooks for him, I don't know if he's able to.
yeah, and the truth is, every song is hard for me to sing because of the air and the power. I'm a very powerful singer, and when you already sang 5 or 6 songs and then you have pulse to sing, then it's
Always
It's not-
dying.
yes, it's dying. 3 minutes dying.
Alrighty,
And
now I
then-
know I got another idea what we're gonna do. So if you guys play Pulse at a live show that I'm at, and all of a sudden, instead of being in the pit, you're gonna see me walk up with a big giant like standing fan. I'm just gonna walk right up to the front and just like point it right at you, Hendrik. It's like, alrighty, hopefully this will let you bring the power, cooling them down to let the heat go away and the power to come out. Let's go.
Well,
Okay.
probably, yeah, probably a thing.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
Right?
The thing is how do I get a fan into the crowd? How do I get a fan from, how do I prevent that fan from breaking in the crowd? How do I get it operable so I can have it literally right there? But also, again, how do I get it through the crowd and not have security take it from me?
I don't know. What security in our shows? I don't know.
Well,
Wait,
then
we
that
have-
takes out that takes out that problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but I remember the last show, that festival we're talking about. We had security because at some point, I think it was during polls, I just, stared into the crowd and there was one completely naked guy, right? There was that one guy that was just like completely
Really?
gone. Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Yeah, I couldn't stop laughing. It was like, what the fuck? What have I just seen? I don't know.
Okay.
You can't
Wow.
remember?
No.
You spotted him, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yes. He was just pants down, everything down. I don't know.
Wow. Was he a nice guy?
I think he was a drunk guy.
Ah,
I think that's happening on punk shows normally.
yes. Normally.
Hey, punk shows, they get crazy, they get hot.
That was
Sometimes
crazy.
you just gotta take off all your clothes and hope for the best, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's when
So, yeah.
security comes in. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
they might also be drunk. They might be drunk enough, but also still have some sort of cognizance of what security guard is going to want to tackle or take down a
Oh.
naked guy.
Probably.
But the security were very nice. They waving their arms on all I had I gave like this. Yeah. It was very nice.
Hey, if you got the security guards into the show,
Mhm.
then you're doing something right, because the amount of times I've seen security guards at any venue, festivals,
They're
whatever it
like-
might be, yeah, just Is that like arms crossed, just stern, looking around, or looking angry because, you know, like someone like Jacoby from Papa Roach says, let's see if we can break the world record for crowd surfers in this song. And you're just like, Argh. I've rarely ever seen security guards kind of like actually get into the music. So if you're able to get those security guards start having fun and get into the show at the same point in time as well, you're definitely doing something right, because who knows exactly what kind of music those security guards like, because they might be bringing in security guards that don't necessarily like the style of music that you're playing in. They might like, you know, more of like a much consistent heavier sound. They might like something that the softest vocal goes something like that, or they might like hip hop, rap, whatever it might be. But if you're getting them into the song, I mean, even if they're into the kind of music or not, but if you're getting them into the song at that time, you're winning. Like, you're winning right there.
Definitely just have to take it.
I am always trying to interact with everyone, also with the security guys, because it's hard for me to understand to stay hours and hours on one point like this and waiting for some stupid people doing stupid things. And
hurting themselves.
I interact with the security guys on this festival and tap them on the shoulder and say, "Hey, thanks that you're here, and much respect from our side." And I think when you involve them in everything, then maybe they are a little bit cooler and smoother and not like this.
Maybe because it's like someone's finally recognizing them for what they do, because you'll always hear bands like, oh, you know, giving up for security guards, like up front, you know, catching everybody, you know, the crowd will cheer for them. And that's always nice. Don't get me wrong. It's always genuine, but it's that extra step that you're doing. Like, you know, you're talking with them. You're actually telling them singly, like, hey, good job. You know, thank you for doing this kind of thing. It gives more of that personable tone to it. And it allows you to create that personal relationship with that security guard just for that day, so that all of a sudden, you know, when they go out and they're, you know, listen to other music, like, they're always going to remember your name. They're always going to remember Blacktooth, because, hey, we worked the show with Blacktooth. You know, was the sound for me? Maybe yes, maybe no, but there was something there about them. Like, again, genuinely nice people. They came, they talked to us, they thanked us for what we're doing personally. And all of a sudden, you know, now we're listening to music, you know, we kind of have that positive feeling to them. We have that positive rapport. And now we're getting into the music, you know, we're waving our hands like this. We're having fun. All of a sudden, you know, we're starting to see some crowd surfers come in, and we don't mind catching them because we know we're appreciated by the band.
Yeah, of course. Makes the job a lot easier.
Absolutely. And that's probably one of the reasons why I never became a venue security guard, because I'm like, do I want to have to deal with someone like me? Not really. Even though I don't think I'm hard to, it's like, I know what I'm doing in the pit. That's it. But I don't want to be the guy like at a venue. It's like work security. It's like, alrighty, we are not allowed mosh pits. I'm going to be like, I'd have if I was a security guard at a venue that didn't allow mosh pits, I'd have the hardest time, because I'd see someone forming a mosh pit. I'd be like, my job is supposed to stop it, but my gut tells me to jump in there and be a part of it.
Well then, probably not the right fit for you.
Not the right fit for me, but talking to all these great rock and metal bands that are creating great music, definitely something for me.
That's cool.
So jumping back into JULI, though, there is one song that I do want to point out, because it was definitely the song that stuck out to me the most, and it was Body Bag. That was a song that stuck out to me the most, as like the one that just got my mind. Real. So my question to you guys, my question to you is, like, when it came to writing Body Bag, what was the inspiration behind it? What was the idea behind it? Because, again, if it's a song that really stuck out to me on the record, I want to know a little bit more about it. Plus, then, as people are listening to this podcast, they're like, wait, that's the song that, you know, Kevin thought was maybe the most, like, the one that got him the most? Okay, when's this album coming out? Because I got to listen to this when it drops, because, woo!
All right, good thing is I know exactly how I started writing it. So
listen to Beartooth?
No. So no, I was just out with the dog actually, and sometimes I have just this hooks in my head, and I have this hook from Body Bag just right in my head. So I just pull out my phone and record some shitty voice message, whatever. So I did that. I was like, yeah. I kind of have to make a song out of it. So I started writing the hook, and the rest was just, okay, how can I make this into some sort of basic, I don't know, rock metalish song? Because I mean, Henny always annoys me about having to add more drive into our songs, because they can't all just be slow and clean and whatever. So that's what I was focusing on Body Bag. So I thought, like, the hook is great, so I can just build something around that is a bit more like rock riffy. So that's our riffy song.
At the beginning, I didn't like the song very much, to be honest.
What?
Yes, yeah, you know it.
No, I don't.
But
That's new.
the more that I listen to the song, I start to love the song. And I don't know if you recognize or realize that the C part in the song is completely 90s Alice in Chains stuff. Like grunge, 90s Seattle grunge style. This is so nice, and I love it. I love it to sing it, and I can't wait to sing the song live. This is gonna be a good live song. I bet.
Oh, it absolutely will be, especially with that hook from because the pre-chorus is that great hook that was the thing that got me into the song, because I was listening to the verse, I'm like, alrighty, there's something going on here. All of a sudden the pre-chorus hits, the drums start to come in, and all of a sudden it's just like starting to kind of bop around like this. You're like, oh shit, this is fun. Let's go! And I'm just having a blast with it. And I kind of love what Hendrik says, like, what would be inspiration song? Listening to Beartooth. I'm like, yeah, I kind of picked up on that with this one too, because not gonna lie, every time first song I ever heard of that was called Body Bag, was definitely Beartooth's Body Bag, and I'm like, okay, you got it's a driving song, it's riffy, it's intense, it's fun. And then I Prevail drops their first single off their new album, and it's called Body Bag. And I'm like, okay, if you're gonna have a song called Body Bag, it's gotta have some sort of drive to it. Like, you can have a song called Body Bag and have it be like super duper flowy and smooth. No, can't have any of that. So when I saw this one, I'm like, I hope it has that drive to it. And when the pre-chorus hit with the hook, I'm like, alrighty, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm just vibing to it, having a great time. Everything worked so well into it. And then even with the driving style, because I'm looking at my notes too, where it's all of a sudden, from an instrumental standpoint, drums had more of this focus of them in the mix. Guitars had more of the notes weren't as long. Like, they were kind of like you hit them, like you strum cut off kind of thing. The drums came more of this fun fill and snare focused sound to drive against this, potential, in a mindset of the theme of the song, like boring, mundane, and bland that can turn into a boring old biddy kind of lifestyle. And I'm like, this is the part of the album where I was the most intrigued. It had me feeling motivated to break from any kind of mold and not let anything stand in my way. Huge fan of this part of the song, and it creates great energy going into the chorus from an instrumental standpoint. So I was like, from that, I'm like, I'm driving, I'm having a good time. Like, this is a song that you're definitely going to want to just check out. And then even kind of going with the vocal style as well. It's kind of not as flowy, but it has a little more of this chopped up feel to it at the same point in time, kind of to flow along with the way the instrumentals are going. And it also kind of then gets a little bit flowy at the same time too. The interaction with the instrumental backing is what makes this absolutely shine. Because the vocals, especially they don't overtake that build from the instrumentals and on the mix. It keeps that feel going to motivation. The vocals only add direction where the drumming and the guitars are going with that emotion. You don't destroy any momentum. You guide it to that breakthrough moment that the chorus ends up bringing.
And then we have that sort of breakdown. So I think it's the only breakdown on the whole album, right? If you can call it a breakdown, it's more like that's what a rock breakdown would sound like.
Yeah,
I guess.
And Matti already dropped that.
I dropped what?
The breakdown.
Huh? What do you mean?
Online.
You mean
you showed it to the world.
I did a story.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
She dropped the story, but no one knows exactly what it all will, what leads to it. Because even I'm taking a look at my notes too for that part of the song. Like, what would be the bridge? I'm like, we open with more of this rock breakdown with some double kick transitions on the drumming. The guitar's having this heavier breakdown style that then bleeds over into the vocals onto the bridge. And I like the style of the heavier breakdown, going to the bridge, because it brings that power and motivation that I felt, especially in the pre-chorus, right back into the song after the chorus. It just keeps it flowing, but in a little bit of a heavier style, like something I'm used to with all the metalcore that I listen to. I love the feeling of the song and how it brings things to more forward and keeps that drive going forward. So having it as like a breakdown style, but having it fit more in a rock sense and in a metal sense, like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna do is clap. Just, I don't know what else to do. Just, yeah,
I mean,
it's applause.
This is
raise the roof.
It's definitely one of these underdogs on the album, I guess. So, but yeah, I think this is also fine with not being a single, because I think especially the more like metalcore crowd that we have will love the song much more.
Yeah,
and they would have loved Tidal Wave, for example, I guess.
Yes. So again, kind of taking a look at it too, especially from my perspective, where I'm definitely would be more that metalcore kind of style fan, where, you know, listening to Tidal Wave, it's not necessarily the kind of song that I go for, but I now know the song and recognize the song because it's a single and because there was more focus on it. But when the album comes out and all of a sudden I get to listen to Body Bag, I'm like, okay, now this is the thing for me. It's like, well, why wasn't this a single? Now thinking about it, now hearing where you're coming from, it makes total sense, because this is a song that's really going to fit in with that crowd. And this is a song that when people hear it live, it's just like, okay, this is it. Very similar to, if I remember, Polaris on their most recent album. There was a song called Above My Head. It was not a single. It was a deep cut. And I thought it was their best song ever. Like, it was my favorite song of 2020. It was like, that song just hits emotionally. It's heavy. It's powerful. It's like, well, why wasn't this a single? Kind of glad it wasn't, because when I discovered it as a deep cut, I was like, it was like finding buried treasure.
Every album has to have these songs. I don't know.
You have to have those songs, because otherwise, what's the point of going to an album?
But also, I think we're quite curious about how people are going to take up on If You Want to Say So, because this is something that we always tend to do. Like, we did it with the last album, although it was like a power ballad that we put on the last album, but we always kind of have this thing where we put a total fucking 80s song on on one of our albums. So putting up that Motley Crue style riff for If You Want to Say So. So we're really, really curious how people are going to take that, especially the whole metalcore scene.
Well, but this is one of the best songs of the album. It's a fact.
That's your opinion.
No, it's the truth.
Okay.
Well, I mean, again, even though I'm definitely more part of that metalcore crowd at the moment, with my favorite genres being like that hard rock, punk rock, metalcore, some post-hardcore stuff, I grew up with the stuff that my dad was listening to, which included Rush, Van Halen, ZZ Top, and Poison. So literally, right away when listening to If You Want to Say So, like right from the beginning, like I picked up on that right away. It was like 80s rock feel, but it had like an 80s rock and outlaw rock kind of feel. So I love how it opened with that. And the guitar and the drums to pick up that pace, or to make us feel like, you know, we're not going to try and let negativity and someone else try to take us down. Kind of like, if you want to say so, that's fine. But like having that like outlaw feel to it had more of this individual aspect to it too. Some of like that 80s drive at the same time. The vocals and construction of the drumming and the lower guitar chugs that happened in the pre-chorus had such a great flow to them that it feels like, you know, we're building up in the momentum to break away from that negativity that people are like, hey, you know, you're trying to put me down. Yeah, if you want to say so, whatever kind of stuff. But after that with the chorus, man, the vocals having more of this fast to long structure and the drums slowing in pace ever so slightly, it takes the energy and the motivation kind of like, it takes it to like, you know what? Yeah, I'm good. Like, you can't stop me. It keeps that outlaw feel kind of going. It feels like, you know, at first, you know, it's like we're kind of, you know, we're actively like, yeah, we're going to break from this. But as the song kind of drops in the chorus, it's just, you're kind of realizing like, oh, I kind of had this all along. You just had to, you know, pull it out of me somehow. Yeah. So it has an 80s rock outlaw kind of feel to just break through that kind of stuff. So yeah, it definitely starts out the album. I'm like, wasn't expecting that, no, but it works. It works.
That's what we were gonna aim for. Like, people were like,
fresh.
What is this? Is this Blacktooth? Did I just put on the album, or is this something else? I think our other producer, Julian, called this the Shinedown song of Blacktooth. Yes.
That actually kind of makes sense. It's like there's another song. It kind of like just the drive of it kind of reminded me of. It was a song by a smaller band here in the U.S. called The Protest. They have a song called Welcome to the Freak Show. And it kind of had like the flow of it, kind of like the idea behind it. Like, it kind of reminded me of that, especially going through. I was like, again, it's a much smaller band. I think they have something like 15,000 Spotify monthly listeners at this point.
Oh my God, they're above us now, I guess.
Yes.
For
Yes, they
now,
are.
once JULI drops, different story.
Yeah, probably.
Because then you're gonna get people listening and be like, okay, if some more people listen to Tidal Wave, it's like, all right, then the metalcore crowd, people like me, it's like, where's our song? And all of a sudden, Body Bag comes out, and it's just, yeah, we got it, we're good, we're listening to this song, we're listening to the rest of the album, we're gonna be good, we're all gonna find something that we really like on this album because it's dynamic, and then we're gonna see this stuff perform live, hopefully soon, and then all of a sudden, you guys are gonna play Body Bag, and we're all just gonna be having a blast in there with that drive of it, just like, yeah, let's go, woo, yeah, hit me, ah.
Yeah, that's going in the set list for sure. It already is.
Oh, I hope so, because it needs to be there.
We're gonna play it live soon.
So one more question for the both of you. Of course, with JULI coming out on July 29th, I want to see some predictions from both of you. What's your prediction for what this album is going to do for the band? I just want to get a little bit of a prediction so that, potentially we can look back at this in a year and see how accurate you are or how much you undersold yourselves.
We're always underselling ourselves, I guess.
Yes. Every time.
We're good at this. We always think like we're like this small.
Yeah.
So
And you have to if you reach for something or point for something, you have to sell your soul. That's it, I guess. You're a little band. You have to do everything.
Yeah,
We're
so I
doing
don't
it.
know. What's our prediction? Where we send? Hopefully, we're gonna have a tour coming up
Yes.
at some point.
Yeah. And more contacts for the future, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing to have like a foot in the door,
Yeah,
with this as the first album that's actually gonna, I don't know, do something for us. Hopefully, like have a fan base,
Yeah,
a real fan base. That's probably bigger than 20 people. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, come on, guys. It's already bigger than 20 people. You know that.
See, but this is what we do. We always make us smaller than we are.
Yes.
All right, so essentially what I got from the prediction was this is going to be the album that really gets Blacktoothed's foot in the door in terms of more tours and, more of a fan base kind of thing. So
booking is a big thing that we need right now.
Yeah, but the thing that makes me think that, you're not only going to achieve this idea of like, getting your foot in the door with, certain things with booking, certain things with different, with different fans and everything, different artists. The thing that makes me think that this is going to be bigger than that is something that Hendrik said, where it's just, it's kind of like you still got to do all this stuff. You still got to focus in on it. You still got to just drive forward on it and still got to kind of do it all yourself in a way. Kind of still having that underdog mentality of it's still on us. Like we still got to make this happen. Yeah, sure. You guys got signed to a rising empire. That's great and all. Don't get me wrong. That's a fantastic achievement. But still having this mindset of, we still have to do so many things for ourselves. It just adds to, the creativity of everything. It adds to the fact that as the world evolves, as social media evolves, as new things come up, as whatever the next thing is going to be after TikTok, whatever's going to be the next thing that blows up, because think about it. I know. Hopefully it doesn't like go further down the TikTok route though. But what I'm saying is like whenever the next thing comes out, you're already kind of focused in on, we have to do whatever we can do to make this happen. So whenever that next thing comes out, you could potentially be the early movers on it with that mentality. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I might call it WeWo or something like that. I don't know, but just use it as an example. All of a sudden, you're your first band on WeWo, and you figure out how to, use it the right, like the way that everyone, really gets that attention. Next thing you know, you got 35 million followers on this thing called WeWo, and all of a sudden now you're touring alongside Bring Me the Horizon because everyone wants to see you based off the content. Man, the fact that you have the mentality of we have to do what we have to do, we're gonna put all the effort into it because this is what we want to do. That underdog mentality puts you so far above and ahead because when things happen in the world, you're able to work with them and you're able to constantly drive forward them instead of saying, well, we're just going to rest on what we've done. No, it's what can we still do to become better?
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to figure out how to use TikTok and Instagram like in the right way. It's so hard. It's so hard to have all this content going on for such a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, starting from February and now moving on, it's very time consuming.
Yeah. One of our biggest topic at the moment.
Yeah.
Social media is not so easy if you have to do.
Because some of us are a little older, not including me, but I'm in that middle position where you would call me somewhat like a digital native, and all the others are not.
I'll say
you always say it's tough for you. So
yes.
Just be honest. Yeah.
But it's not that I'm not technical into it, but it's for me.
It's a mindset thing. I can't explain it. It's
sometimes to post some content with sense. And the last content I posted was I had a long black hair and did it like 80s heavy metal. And Matti loves it. I did it well.
Yeah, I'm quite critical.
But if you have to, it's very hard for me, really.
Yeah.
Understandable, and I totally understand that idea as well, because like even with the podcast, with the amount of content that I try and produce for this at some point in time, just to hit as many potential people as possible. Yeah, it's time consuming. Sometimes it's not fun. It's tedious because all of a sudden you put that stuff out there. You're like, well, I put so much time in this. Why aren't people watching this? Why aren't people, actually seeing this kind of thing? It can get disheartening, but it's also at the same point in time, it's the world we live in. It's the game we have to play. It's what we have to do. It's like, I didn't want to get on TikTok, but I had to.
Yeah, same with us.
Yes.
I guess when Arising said maybe do TikTok, we were all like, oh my God, please don't make us. But yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. And again, having that mindset of we gotta do this. And, even though we don't want to do some of this stuff, or even though it's like, we don't get some of this stuff, but we have the drive, we have the dream to make sure that this band is what we want to do. And we make sure this band is going to be successful the way we want it to be successful. We're going to do what it takes to make sure that we figure this out, make sure that we understand where this is going, and do the best possible so that we put ourselves in the best position possible to succeed. So that when JULI comes out, not only do we get our foot in the door, but we pry that door wide open and we show everybody that, hey, you think that our band doesn't belong on the bill? Haha, think again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we can prove that.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to prove it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. That's the thing. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. Well, at that point, Matti and Hendrik, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, one thing I always like to do is give my guests, which is both of you, a chance to say whatever you both want to say, plug whatever you both want to plug, promote whatever you both want to promote at the end of the episode. So, Matti, Hendrik, floor is yours.
Should I start? So yeah, even though we live in a time where you probably don't have a CD player, our album is gonna be a CD. So maybe just stick it to the wall. I don't know if that looks good, but just buy one, buy a copy maybe, and hopefully one day we will have some vinyls for you all.
Yes. This is the next big step for us.
I'll say get some vinyls because I need to play more vinyls on this bad boy.
Yeah. Everyone needs vinyls. Yeah.
Everyone does.
And of course, everybody stay healthy.
Yes.
I think that's a very important part.
He just recovered from COVID.
Yes. I'm still positive, but I'm also positive in my mind. Yes. Yeah.
Still
COVID is not fun.
No, it's not.
No, it is not. But still, positive mindset, positive mood. He's still rolling. He's still going. And now it's time for me to end this podcast with, 3 very specific things. So, for everyone listening, JULI, the brand new album from Blacktooth, is coming out on July 29th. So, what are you going to do? Well, as Matti said, go out and buy one of the CDs. How about this? How about you go and buy the album digitally? Or if you're just like, I just want to stream it, why don't you go stream the music? Stream it, folks in it down. Maybe buy some merch from the band. Hey, that's a good idea too. Why not do that? Or how about this? watch your music videos, and follow the band on social media, including TikTok. Yes, I had to say that because we just got done talking about it. And instead of having to look all this stuff up yourself, instead of having to find all this stuff yourselves, I'm going to do all the heavy lifting for you, do all the searching for you. So go to the description of this podcast. See where it says Find Blacktoothed Online. You're going to see links to their social media accounts, links to their YouTube videos, links to their where you can buy their merch, links to where you can get the album, links to where you can stream it, listen to it, all that good kind of stuff. So all you have to do is go to the description of the podcast, click on the link, and click the like, share, subscribe, listen, play, buy button, whatever it is, to support this band. I'm making it as easy as possible for you guys. All you got to do is click once, click twice, you're good. Gotcha. So now it's time for number 2. And Hendrik and Matti, this is something I like to do with bands that I've enjoyed having on the podcast. It's something I like to do as a way to say thank you for taking the time to, be on the podcast, talk to me, and also for a way for me to continue to show my support for the band. And this only happens if I like bands I've had in the podcast. So this has happened to every single band I've had in the podcast. This trend is continuing with the both of you, so we are going to keep this rolling. So my promise to you both is this. It does not start out with if. If implies that this might not happen. Hell no. This starts out with when. When implies this is going to happen, but the date and time we still have no idea on. So when I get to see Blacktoothed perform live for the first time, my promise to you both is this, and that is first round's on me.
That's perfect. Yes. Cheers.
And please hold me to that promise because, well, I like to pay up on my debts. And I'll put it this way, because I'm pretty sure it'll be me coming over to Europe to see you. There's so many bands that I owe drinks to in Europe where I need to save some money because it's going to be like a 3-week wild party with everybody. And I'm all for it.
And you have to prepare yourself for this.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have to prepare myself for this, but I will also put it this way. When I go on like a vacation or a holiday or something like that, I get in like this, what I call vacation mode. And it's just like everything gets amped up to like 11.
Yeah. I totally understand.
The energy amped up to 11. The sleep, don't need it as much, amped up to 11. The tolerance for alcohol, amped up to 11. Like, we are good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hendrik, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, of course.
Well, like we don't regularly drink, so one drink's gonna be enough for a few of us, I guess. So that's a good thing.
But it's like when you're driving to a festival, you have this special mode. Click, and you don't need sleep. You don't have a tolerance to alcohol. This is brutal.
It's brutally fun. I'll put it that way. Yes. Well, now time for number 3. So closing out this podcast, can I say goodbye? No, I cannot, because 2 major reasons. 1, I made the promise to see you perform live, and first round's on me, and I am not missing out on that promise. I'm not going to break that promise. Secondly, is this the only time I want to have you both on the podcast? And the answer is absolutely not. I'd love to have you on the podcast again in the future. So can this be goodbye? No, it cannot. This has to be see you later.
Bye. We'd be glad to be back at some point.
Well, folks, that was our interview with Hendrik and Matti from the band Blacktoothed. Again, if you want to check them out on their social media accounts, check out their YouTube videos, check them out on the day when JULI releases so you can listen to the whole entire thing. Support them, buy some merch, support them that way. Look at the description of the podcast, say Find Blacktoothed Online. All links and labels are going to be there in the description for you. So go do it. I'm doing all the heavy lifting for you. And so go and do that right now. Please remember to subscribe to the Chord Progression Podcast. We are on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for all your social content from the Chord Progression Podcast. On top of that, subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, SoundCloud Podcast, iHeart Radio, and Amazon, and honestly, many other platforms that we didn't even know we were on. But thank you for listening and subscribing to all those. If you are already subscribed, I'm going to give you a gigantic thank you. If you're subscribing because of this episode, I want to give you a giant thank you. If you're not subscribed, and you're like, I like this episode, but I don't want to subscribe, might I change your mind by asking please? If not, I totally understand. It's your choice. You're human. So I want to thank you for stopping by and hope you come back in the future. And also make sure I want to thank our sponsor of this podcast again, Manscaped, keeping your bush kept well this summer with the Lawnmower 4.0. Oh, yeah. Look at that thing fly. Oh, yeah. Remember, 20% off and free shipping worldwide using the code CPP at checkoutmanscaped.com. Also, remember to get your tickets for When We Were Hungry Music Festival happening in Las Vegas, Nevada, October 20th and 21st of 2022. Website link in the description of the podcast. Go get your tickets now. I'll see you in the pit with pancakes. So I want to thank Matti and Hendrik once again for being on the podcast. This was a blast. This was fun. I can't wait to make good on my promise of seeing them live for the first time and First Round's Enemy. I also want to thank a Rising Empire because I've had so many of their bands on the podcast this year. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I do not want to, miss out on any more of those. On top of that, I also want to thank Adam Slater PR, specifically Mr. Tim over at Adam Slater PR. Man, you are the man, and I want to thank you for all the help you've given us when it comes to getting bands on the podcast. Thank you very much, Tim. So on that note, that's good for me, guys. Thank you for watching to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin. Yeah, I got the light on me now. Woo! And you guys know how I end every single one of the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!